The woman alleges Diplo told her she couldn't leave until she performed oral sex acts on him. And after she realized there was no way out, she said she acquiesced and performed oral sex on him. The woman believes Diplo filmed the encounter without her consent. In fact, she says she wasn't fit to consent to any of it. Does it sound familiar? What's up, YouTube? You're in the den with Aaron EBM. Now, the channel is sitting at around 148 subscribers as we speak. Y'all know my goal is 300 by August, and I'm going to need your help in order to make it to that goal. And for me to make it to that goal, you're going to have to hit that like and subscribe button for me to keep making this wonderful content for you. Feel like it's a topic that I have to talk about, that we should be talking about often, but I feel like we don't talk about it enough. And that's D-Discipline. For you guys that don't know what deep discipline is, it's, come on, Dck Discipline. I feel like if a lot of you guys had the D discipline, we wouldn't be in the situations that we're in today. And I can tell by a lot of you guys' situations that you don't have D discipline. Look, everybody learns about D discipline. Some people just learn the easy way, and some people learn the hard way. Now me, I grew up in the stereotypical home. You know, I had two parents, you know, and they eventually split up like 50% marriages do in this country that we live in today. But yet I still had an active father. I lived with one, you know, a few years, and I lived with the other for a few years. I get tired of one parent and I moved to the next. So I had a chance to see what discipline was, what D discipline was. Where I learned from is not from my dad. You think it would be from my dad or from my mother having conversations with me about how scandalous these hyenas are. But it wasn't from that. It was actually from my sister seeing all the out of wedlock births and all of the baby daddy and baby mama drama that they had. Really scared me out of even wanting to interact or even want to participate in that kind of activities. So that kind of steered me away from that. Like I said, if you had the D discipline, you would avoid a lot of the situations that we're in today. The 70-80% out of wedlock births in our community, you know, the STDs and so on and so forth. You wouldn't even have to worry about if you had D discipline. See, a lot of people, and it goes all the way into this actual space. You know, a lot of us complain about women's nature, you know, the crazy things that women do and the hyenas act and the way they act, and, you know, how much it aggravates us in the space. And we have to talk about these things. We should not talk about it, because just like I tell my kids and I tell other people's kids, when you're trying to learn, if you don't say what's wrong, you're never going to get to a solution. So we gotta have this space, and we got to talk about it. But a lot of the problems come down to the lack of discipline. And if we had the discipline, we would steer clear of these messed up situations. You wouldn't have a lot of the baby mama drama that we talk about. We wouldn't have to be stuck with these wild hyenas nipping at our pockets, nipping at the wallets, hitting you over your head for child support. Shout out to Mr. Palmer. A lot of those things would get avoided. This even goes to Bill Cosby. Let's talk, you know, even goes to Bill Cosby. It's the typical story. Bill Cosby is a typical story of how men get money, they get power, and then mess around and not have the discipline that they need to keep themselves out of trouble. And that actual clip I showed you was the perfect example of what we're talking about here today. Diplo, I guess he's a musician, DJ. I can't remember where he's from, but just like a lot of the men out here, he lacked D discipline. Brung some ladies up to his room, and now the same story that you hear over and over again has happened. They're claiming assault, and of course, you know, there's probably going to be some money involved, allegedly. And it all comes down to a lack of discipline. How many times is this going to have to happen to us for us to realize that, look, we can complain, we can argue about what women are doing as being scandalous, and when it comes down to it, we're never going to be able to change their nature. Hopefully we gain some women allies out there to help push the message and to help usher the change, but we cannot make the women do what they do. There are always going to be some scandalous women out there. It's probably some veteran groupies out there shaking their hair right now saying that these ladies are messing up the game for the real honest hoes. The hoes that just want to get some and get broke, maybe get broke off a little change and then go off about their business. And we can argue that these women are changing the game and messing around, but that's for another video. We're going to have to usher in a movement of change and a movement of growth for us to have discipline. For us to be able to control our outcomes and not be controlled by the peace sleeve. To be able to maximize our greatness. And we can't do that if we're running around like a bunch of dogs with the little pink things hanging out. It has to be some level of control. We have to control ourselves in order to control our narrative. We can't sit here and say that we're fighting these women, these crazy women, and then sitting around thirsty for them on Instagram. We can't say that we stand for something and then every time we get into a position of power, we're hit with a scandal, we're hit with some kind of sexual assault allegation. Because guys, unless you have the money to fight it, we're going to end up in the same situations as a lot of our other brothers that's in jail or with our reputations tattered. And we're trying to build something. I believe we're going to build greatness. We're going to build great things and we're going to have greatness, but you can't do that without self-control. Men lose entire empires, entire legacies, names and brands over the lack of discipline. And you can't wait for somebody else to do that. You don't want to wait until you have 3, 4, 5 baby mamas. You can't wait till you lose everything for you to realize I should have had some kind of discipline. I should have been more disciplined. Or in hindsight, we all know that hindsight conversation. We don't want that. We want to do it now. And yes, that means sometimes you're going to have to turn these Super Saiyan harlots down. Shout out to MTR. Sometimes you're going to have to turn these hyenas away in order to preserve your legacy, to be able to conserve and preserve your money, your wallet, your integrity, to be able to reach that mountaintop later on in your life or when it's that time, and not having to look over your shoulder waiting to see when that lady from 3, 4, 5 years ago comes out of the woodworks and said you did something to her because lack of discipline. I've seen men lose jobs. I've seen people lose everything because of lack of discipline, lack of self-control. And like I say, lack of awareness, self-awareness. You have to realize who we are, no matter how much money we gain, no matter how much celebrity status we have. You have to remember who you are and remember where you are. Like I said before, I was in a position to be scared out of my life from the decisions that others made around me. I feel like that was a blessing, but everybody doesn't have that. It's young dudes running around here slanging D to these little hyenas and creating more little hyenas that won't be raised correctly, or because you don't have a baby mama that is willing to work with you, you're not there in the home, and you know how it goes. She'll tell that kid anything and everything besides the truth sometimes in order to be the good parent, and you know where this goes. The cycle continues. So let's practice some D discipline, people. Let's build that wall of integrity, and give them something to see and to be strong and to be better, to not become a statistic like we see over and over again, people. I think I'm gonna let that be it, guys. If you like this content, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share the videos. Make sure you hit that notification, because I think people are not seeing my videos. You know how YouTube is sometimes. So I appreciate everybody. Until next time, peace.